Serpent, Scion by Orphan Account. Read by Kaiinbed.
Chapter 5. The Morality of Albus Deep. I won't do this. You have no choice, Severus. I won't help you murder an innocent man and ruin this boy's life. His life is already ruined. I only want to take him to Hogwarts and give him a chance of a normal life. Severus sighs. Headmaster, your idea of a normal life apparently varies from his idea of a normal life. He says quietly. He is obviously happy living here with his stepfather, and as we have experienced on our own skin, he doesn't need to attend Hogwarts. His situation can be described as being homeschooled, and he is already quite an advanced wizard. Dumbledore loses his patience. He grabs Severus by his robes on the chest and pulls him violently towards him. Severus, he whispers dangerously. Was that any other kid, I would leave him here to rot in this disgusting hovel. But Harry is the chosen one, the boy from the prophecy. He has a crucial assignment to fulfill, and I will not allow him to remain here in complete obliviousness. I will not let my perfect plan fall apart just because the brat doesn't want to attend school. Headmaster, you are talking about killing his legal guardian. Morphin Gaunt is an innocent man. Morphin Gaunt is a pariah. Dumbledore hisses, emphasizing his words. Even if he is, that doesn't justify. That's a crime. You're going to face the Wizengamot. You could spend a lifetime in Azkaban. Severus mutters. Dumbledore lets go of Snape's robes. Remember who you are talking to, Severus. He snarls. I am Chief Warlock. You, on the other hand, are Death Eater. Don't you tell me that you have suddenly developed a conscience. Snape lowers his dark head. I do have a conscience, Headmaster. He says quietly. Dumbledore smirks. Really? Since when? Severus lifts his glittering eyes at him. Since always. Dumbledore rolls his eyes and turns back to his subordinate. Very well, Severus. If you don't want to help me, then you can as well go back to Cookworth. I shall handle this myself. Wait, Severus says reluctantly. What exactly are your plans for Gaunt? I'm going to lure Harry outside and burn this filthy hovel down. Dumbledore answers calmly. Morphin is going to die inside. Snape flinches at his blunt honesty. How can you speak so calmly about such things? He mutters through clenched teeth. Severus, this man is an obstacle in my plan. Albus answers patiently. He is holding the Chosen One back, making him live in this gross place away from civilization. And he fails to understand that the Chosen One is not his private property. Neither is he your private property. Severus notices quietly. Dumbledore clenches his teeth. His potty-mouthed subordinate definitely needs to be taught a lesson. Later. The Chosen One is the priority. My dear boy, Harry is the prophesied savior of the wizarding world, he says with forced calmness. Leaving him under the custody of this coarse dosser would be reckless and foolish. Morphin Gaunt is not going to lead the boy towards his destiny. Harry must go with us, to understand and learn to embrace his assignment and the sacrifice he is going to make. You want to take him under your care, and make him a person he is not, Snape says slowly, looking Albus in his twinkling light blue eyes. You want to get rid of the only person the boy trusts, lock him up in a golden cage, and raise him like a pig for slaughter? Dumbledore straightens up and looks at his young subordinate from above his half-glasses. I remind you, Severus, that you are already in it with me, up to your eyeballs. No, Snape whispers. I don't want to have anything to do with murdering Morphin Gaunt and with abducting this boy. Stay away from it then, Dumbledore hisses. Let me handle it and stay out of my way. He pulls his wand out and casts a disillusionment charm upon himself. Walking away from Severus, he feels the younger man's disbelieving eyes on his back. Albus has to spend several hours hidden amongst the tree trunks nearby the Gaunt shack. Thank goodness his disillusionment charm is light years ahead of any ordinary one. The camouflaging effect of his spell work is flawless. They work exactly like being under an invisibility cloak. Albus had done a little bit of reconnaissance around this abandoned part of Little Hangleton, and found out that Gaunt owns a small field outside of the forest, where he grows several kinds of vegetables, presumably for his own and Harry's use. Plants are all well kept and the crop is fertile, which indicates some magical means used to enhance them. Dumbledore is going to burn the shack down. He's also going to burn the field. This entire place is going to be turned into cinders. After several hours of waiting patiently, the Chosen One is finally stepping out of the shack. Dumbledore had assumed correctly that the boy is the one to take care of the vegetable patches. Albus follows Harry soundlessly outside of the forest to the fields. He watches the boy drawing out his wand and creating a sprinkler for the crops with a silent aguamenti. Albus, for his elderly age, is still a fit person. He jumps forward noiselessly, pulling his wand out at the same time. He aims at the boy and casts a wordless stunner. Much to his utter shock, the boy turns around and within a split second conjures a powerful shield which protects him from Albus's stupefy. Dumbledore freezes. Harry looks around with wide emerald eyes. "Who's there?" he hisses warningly. "Reveal yourself." Much to Albus's disappointment, he keeps his shield up. The old wizard curses quietly and clenches his teeth. He points his wand towards the ugly building of the Gaunt Shack. "Fiend fire!" he yells aloud. A couple of blazing fire streams shoot out of his wand. The cursed flames are merciless. They bring nothing but irreversible destruction. The cottage is set on fire. "No!" Harry yells in despair and runs towards his violently burning house. For an 11-year-old, he is already quite developed physically and athletic. He runs fast and graceful like a cheetah. Dumbledore takes advantage of the moment, of his distraction and defenselessness, shooting a quick stunner right into his back. Unsportsmanlike, but oh well. The greater good requires sacrifices. The boy collapses on the soft soil. At the corner of his eye, Albus notices Morphin running out of the burning shack. He leaves unconscious Harry on the ground and starts chasing the older wizard. Morphin was supposed to burn in the cottage. Dumbledore is now going to be forced to use an unforgivable. Oh well. Gaunt is a close relative of Lord Voldemort. Using an unforgivable in his case is obviously justified. "Avada Kedavra," he whispers, and a stream of green light shoots out towards running Morphin. Albus gasps loudly when Gaunt rolls over, dodging the killing curse. Morphin stands up with his eyes wide and his wand outstretched, trying to locate his enemy. His familiar, Adder, curled up on his shoulder, lets out an incomprehensible hiss, and Morphin unexpectedly fires a wordless curse straight at Dumbledore's side. Albus shields himself, shook to the core. How is that possible? He's invisible. "You won't fool us with your childish tricks," Gaunt hisses. "We use our veronasal organ to see during a fight, rather than our eyesight." Dumbledore figures that saying "we," Morphin is referring to himself and the snake. After a split second, Albus is forced to back up under a powerful cannonade of Morphin's offensive spells. The fight is slowly moving into the forest, where Dumbledore has much less room for maneuver. Gaunt has surprised him yet again. He has turned out to be not only a protective and caring father, but also a decent duelist. Well, beneath a surface of a coarse inbred, Morphin is an extraordinary person. Looks is deceiving in his case. Gaunt indeed is a worthy descendant of Salazar Slytherin. He really is. However, he is not the most powerful wizard of all time, the Lord of the Light, and the Master of the Elder Wand. He is no match for Albus. The older wizard decides to effectively end the already prolonged duel. He makes a simple, unobtrusive move, which is a combination of two powerful spells. A shield breaker, which puts down Morphin's protection, and a disarming spell. Gaunt, shocked and confused, stands in front of Dumbledore, wandless and defenseless. Albus catches the man's thick wand mid-air. The Elder Wand, in skillful hands, can perform miracles. Petrificus totalis, Albus mutters almost lazily, casting the full body bind on Morphin with his own wand. Gaunt's muscles stiffen. A silent horror freezes on his face. Albus's lips curl up in a smile. Severus, after a long struggle, finally manages to put the cursed flames out. Unlike a normal fire, cursed flames are impossible to put out under pressurized water, Helen, or any other usual method. Fiend fire can be controlled only by a person extraordinarily skilled in dark magic. Snape is lucky. His supervisor's power levels may outnumber many times his own, but out of the two of them, Severus is the one with way more experience and practice in dark arts field. Having vanished the blazing flames, Severus storms into the partially burned cottage. "Gone!" he calls. "Gone!" The living room is intact. The small kitchen and bedroom seem to be damaged by the fire, and Morphin is nowhere to be found. "Gone!" Snape yells, sticking his head into the kitchen, covered with debris of the burned roof. The man is not there. Severus feels an unpleasant cramp in his stomach. There is no way he is going to let Dumbledore sacrifice another innocent person to enforce his twisted ideas. Way too many men, women, and children have already sacrificed their happiness, their dreams, and sometimes also their lives for Albus's sick interpretation of the greater good. Severus is one of these people. "Gone!" He yells at the top of his lungs, desperate to find Morphin before it's too late. Suddenly he hears noises coming from behind the cottage, from the forest. He jumps outside and follows the sound of flying spells. There he is, Dumbledore, standing in front of Gaunt, who apparently has just been hit with a full body bind. "Impedimenta!" Severus yells, aiming at his supervisor. The spell is absorbed by Albus's shield, but the unexpected attack makes the old man turn around. Severus takes advantage of this moment. "Relatio!" he cries, nullifying the effects of the petrifying hex Morphin has been under. The man regains the freedom of movement and shoots Snape a confused glance. "Disapparate away, for heaven's sake!" Severus yells. Before Dumbledore has a chance to react, a soft pop sound can be heard, and Morphin disappears. Albus takes his eyes off the spot where Gaunt has just stood and looks at Severus. This is the worst kind of look. "Well, Severus," Dumbledore says with a deceiving calmness in his voice, "you have decided to ruin my plan, haven't you?" Snape cowers slightly. He knows perfectly well what awaits him for this extreme disobedience. "It wasn't necessary, Headmaster," he says quietly. "This man would have been a completely unnecessary sacrifice." "Would he?" Dumbledore asks almost playfully. "Even if he would, Severus, do I have to remind you which one of us is the supervisor, and which one of us is the subordinate?" "No, Headmaster." Snape mutters, "Extend your left hand." He knew it was coming. Dumbledore takes Snape's left hand and rolls up the sleeve, slowly and gently. When the convex, blurry dark mark is exposed, Albus extends his index finger and presses it powerfully against it. The snake wrapped around the skull starts writhing anxiously. Severus clenches his teeth tightly, not to let out a cry of pain. The unbelievably intensive suffering forces him to fall down on his knees. A dark mark causes a burning pain if touched by anybody but a fellow Death Eater. In case of Dumbledore, the Light Lord, touching it, the suffering is additionally multiplied by hundreds. Severus's body is shutting down under the unbearable pain. He is slowly plunging into unconsciousness. Suddenly, he hears a distinctive hiss, and Albus lets go of his forearm, being tossed a couple feet away like a rag doll. Snape turns around, shocked and confused. Harry Potter, with his wand extended, approaches them, hissing dangerously. Dumbledore, with a surprising gracefulness, picks himself up from the ground and smiles widely to the boy. "Harry, my dear boy, I have some sad news for you. Unfortunately, a fire had broken out in your house. Professor Snape and I managed to put it out, but sadly, we didn't manage to save your father from the flames. But no worries, my dear boy, you will now go with us, and we shall provide you with the best living arrangements, and the best level of education you could imagine." Snape is still weak and nauseous from the insane pain he had to endure, but his eyes widen after Dumbledore's shocking words. How can this man have the audacity to tell such disgusting, outraging lies? Harry hisses something in Parseltongue that Severus doesn't understand, but judging by Albus's facial expression, they were some blunt, harsh words. The boy, still aiming his wand at Dumbledore and not taking his bright eyes off him, approaches cowering Severus. He gently takes Snape's left wrist and lifts it up, eyeing the dark mark carefully. Both Severus and Albus look at the boy in confusion when he touches the convex symbol of the snake with his index finger. Severus clenches his fist, expecting an onrush of pain, but nothing of that kind happens. It's the other way around. The snake on the mark instantly relaxes under Harry's touch. The boy starts hissing, softly and rhythmically. The snake on the mark stops writhing, and Severus immediately feels a sweet relief. All the remainders of the unbearable pain and the unpleasant nausea disappear within a second. Harry lets go of Snape's wrist. Severus lifts his eyes at him questioningly. The boy hisses something quietly. "That will do, Harry," Dumbledore says dryly, coming towards the boy. "Now please, be a good boy, and let me take you away from here. Hogwarts term starts only in 3 weeks, but our students who do not have any decent living arrangements are allowed to live in the dorm of our school, also between the terms. I will take you to Hogwarts and—" "Wait!" Dumbledore raises his eyebrows, and Severus picks himself up from the ground and jumps between him and the boy. "Let me take him," he says in a begging voice, spreading his arms and shielding Harry from Albus like he would shield him from a hungry wolf. "Take him where?" the old wizard snaps. "To Spinner's End, to my place," Snape answers quickly. He improvises. He just doesn't want the old coot to spend these 3 weeks alone with the boy. He doesn't want him to turn the boy into his sacrificial lamb. Just no. Only if you promise to deliver Harry straight to Hogwarts on September 1st. Albus says coldly. "I will do that. No tricks, Severus," the old wizard says warningly. "I am not in a position to try any tricks," Snape answers dryly. Albus seems to be thinking it over for a short while. "I want Harry to ride the Hogwarts Express," he adds unexpectedly. Severus looks at him confused. "Can't we just—" "No, Severus. The train ride is the important part of the school initiation, and I want Harry to partake in it." Dumbledore cuts him off harshly. "We'll be at King's Cross on September 1st at 11 in the morning," Severus says solemnly. Albus looks at his subordinate, still unconvinced, but finally nods his head. "Very well then, Severus. See you both in September," he says, and disapparates with a soft pop. Snape sighs in relief and extends his hand towards the scruffy boy. "Take my hand, Harry. I'll show you Cokeworth."